Hey. Hi everyone, it's Holly Marie King, and I am finally back with Emblem Knights Chapter 3. It's been a while since I recorded one of these, but lots happened, so it's been rough. Not really, just kidding. Anyway, let's get started. Chapter 3, An Injured Old Friend. The next morning, the old man grabbed Daisuke by the arm just before breakfast. "I wanted to thank you for bringing my granddaughter back to me," he said with a twinkle in his eye. Daisuke smiled warmly. "I'm only here to help." Now I'm thinking about how cringy this is. "Daisuke!" Yuri shouted. "Oh, whoa. Daisuke!" Yuri shouted, coming inside drenched with sweat from practicing early in the morning. "There's someone coming down the road, and he looks like he's injured." Daisuke dropped the knife he had been using. "Go to one of the spare rooms and go prepare a bed," he said to the old man. The old man nodded and went to an empty room. "Yuri, wet some cloths and find me a needle and thread. Make sure to sterilize both." "How do I sterilize it?" Yuri asked, unsure of what to do. This is times when we're not sure. "Boil water and dip everything we use into it, understand? That means the cloths, the needle, the cloth." It just has to say the cloth. I probably didn't fix that in the final draft either. "The needle and the thread. But be careful. They'll all be hot." Daisuke instructed her. She nodded in understanding and went to work. Daisuke found Joey on the porch playing with his flute. "What are we going to do about him?" Joey asked Daisuke. The boy was gesturing towards a staggering cloaked figure. "I need you to help me undress him." "Because that's not weird." "Now?" Daisuke said, nearly jumping off the porch in his hurry. He ran out and caught the cloaked figure before they fell to the ground in exhaustion. Do you suppose he knows the poor soul?" Joey's grandfather asked the boy. "Man, that grandfather is fast." "Either that, or he might just be a little too helpful, if you ask me," Joey said. He handed his grandfather his flute. "I need to help Daisuke." He walked out to the two struggling figures. "Remove his sword," Daisuke told the boy. Joey struggled to find the buckle as the two walked. He finally found it and took the sword from the man's side. Joey stopped for a moment to stare at an emerald-encrusted sword. "Geez, this looks expensive," Joey said, his eyes sparkling. "Can I go show it to Yuri?" he asked Daisuke excitedly. "Why?" Daisuke asked, sweat drenching his shirt. They were closing in on the door. "Just a few more inches, my friend," he assured his companion. "You said that a few inches ago," the man panted, finally saying something. "Because Yuri will know if the sword is useful or not," Joey answered. "Well, I can tell you it wasn't useful for me," the man said as he and Daisuke stepped onto the porch. Good old Ray. Joke. "Which room did you make the bed in?" Daisuke asked the old man. "I'll show you." The man led the way through the front door and took the hallway between the front room and the kitchen. And just so anyone's curious, I left the grandfather as the grandfather and didn't give him a name for a specific reason. And eventually you will see why. But I'm just saying I did not make a mistake with his name. I just never gave him one on purpose. "Yuri, I'll need those sheets soon," Daisuke said as they passed the kitchen. "Okay, I'm almost finished," Yuri said, pulling out a steaming cloth from a pot of boiling water with a stick. I was going to say, I hope she's not using her hands, because that wouldn't make sense. "Hey, Yuri, how good is the sword?" Joey asked his sister. She took the sword and felt the weight as she examined it. "It's only good for decoration for the most part." She pulled the sword out of the sheath. "You see, the sword was made to only look good, not to be good for use. It shipped brand new." She looked at her brother as she dipped the thread in the boiling water. "Why do you ask?" "The man had this around his waist," Joey told his sister. "I have to go help Daisuke now." He ran out of the kitchen and into the nearest room, where the man lay breathing heavily. His red hair was matted with sweat, while the man's maroon eyes looked over at Joey. "I know why this sword didn't work, because it matters while he's laying there super injured, Joey." "And why is that?" Daisuke asked, examining the wounds of the man who lay before him. "The sword is only used for decoration," Joey explained, and as though he had thought of it himself. So proud. "Here, hold this." Yuri handed Joey the sword and walked into the room with a basket full of steaming cloths. Cloth. It should only have to say cloth. Holly, what are you doing? "I'm sorry it took so long. Do you need any help?" she asked Daisuke. "Could you dab the wounds with one of these?" Daisuke asked, handing her Yuri a cloth. Blah. "Joey, go fetch us a cold washcloth. An old one. Could you go get some food?" "Of course." "Joey, Lean that thing against the wall, the old man said before he left the room. Joey obeyed and followed his grandfather. Yuri began to dab at the blood on the man's neck. There's so much blood. Are you hurt anywhere too deeply? She asked the man. The man showed Yuri his hands and winced as he did so. I spread it by putting my hands on the wound, he gasped in explanation. Hush now, Yuri said, wiping the man's hands. He can wash those himself after you get more of the blood off. You shouldn't speak if it hurts. Joey came in with the washcloth of water. Yuri thanked her brother with a smile. Joey, could you play a soothing tune for us on your flute, she asked. Joey looked shocked to hear the request and nodded. In the confusion, his grandfather left the flute on the porch. I'll be right back. Yuri put the washcloth on the man's forehead. This should make you feel a little better, she said soothingly. I'm surprised you know so much about these things, Daisuke said across his friend as he cleaned a deep cut on his side. My father used to get sick a lot, and so my mother would play a soothing melody for him. She made me learn how to take care of the sick, but I've never had to treat someone this badly wounded before, Yuri admitted. The old man came back with food. The girl moved so she could clean a gash on the man's leg. May I have another cleaning rag, she asked Daisuke, who handed her a clean washcloth while she put the dirty one on the floor with no thought. It's no good anymore. Don't worry about the nasty cuts. I can handle it, Daisuke informed her. By the way, Ray, you're lucky this cut could have killed you. You're lucky this cut could have killed you. You're lucky this cut didn't kill you. Would have made more sense. Joey returned and began to play a lullaby almost immediately on his flute. That's what you say, at least, Ray said tiredly. Old one, could you get me some water? Certainly, the old man left the room, leaving the steaming bowl on the floor. Yuri's stomach growled. She ignored the hunger in her belly as she continued to clean out the gash of Ray's leg. Did you eat before practice? Daisuke asked her. I didn't want to spoil breakfast. Besides, I just go for a light jog before breakfast every morning. That's how I've always built up an appetite. She shook her head. That doesn't matter right now. We should be focusing on this wounded man. By the way, this cut on his leg isn't too deep, so we could just bandage it. Don't worry, I found the bad spot, and all he needs is a hot meal, water, bandaging up, and lots of rest. You can go eat. Both of you, Daisuke said, biting the string when he finished the stitching. Joey left the room. Yuri stood. Are you sure you don't need any more help? She asked. I'm sure. Besides, you've been more than helpful, Daisuke said, tearing the sheets that were left into strips of bandages. Go eat, he ordered. Yuri left the room as her grandfather went in with a glass of water. He came back to join the two children. Daisuke came out of the room well past breakfast. Yuri handed him a bowl of something hot. I warmed it up so it would be warm for you when you came out, she told him. So it wouldn't be cold. Daisuke smiled. Thank you. You're too kind, he said, smiling as he took the food from her. For the first time Yuri had known him, Daisuke looked exhausted and a little older. Will he be all right? Yuri asked as she had a concerned look on her face. He will live, but I'm afraid to think about what he got into, Daisuke answered. I know, but it's not in this. He doesn't know swords very well, does he? Yuri asked, taking a seat across from him at the table. No, Daisuke said, chewing his breakfast with hunger. How could you have guessed? Well, no good swordsman would go around with one of those on their belts. Yuri said she topped Daisuke before he spoke. I think it was supposed to say stopped. I'm only guessing, but the look of those scars on his chest, he is an experienced fighter. You're good, Daisuke admitted. He knows how to use axes, and that's about it. Oh, one more thing. What was that tattoo on his chest? Yuri asked, thinking about it now. In the center of the man's chest, there'd been a tattoo among the many scars. It had been a cross immersed in red flames with a shield behind it. It's supposed to be a sword. It oddly resembles the emblem on the guard shields in our town. No more questions, Daisuke said as he stood from the table. I'm too tired to answer anymore. He walked out of the room and went into his. Yuri stared after him, knowing that she had hit a mystery that wouldn't be easy to figure out, because she had a feeling both men weren't going to answer the question. Alrighty. The end of chapter 3 of the Rough Draft. Next video, we're going to be getting towards the very few end chapters of Not a Dream, so we can actually start reading the final draft of Emblem Knights. But yeah, anyway, And as always, I will leave in the description below where you can buy the book if you are interested in buying the final version. This is just the rough draft, so it's not the final version. There's the final form, and it's better. I promise. But yeah, anyway, I'll leave that in the description below, so if you're interested in it, you can buy it. If not, that's okay. You can just watch it on here. But anyway, hopefully I will see you guys next time. Bye! Hi everyone!